Hey freight brokers, welcome back to another episode of Freight Skills. And in this video, we're going to talk about something that you're going to come up against during your career as a freight broker at some point. It is not a matter of if, it is a matter of when will you have a problem to bring to your customer, and it's your responsibility to solve it. We're going to talk about how you handle that with the customer, what's the right way to present it, and we'll talk about a few examples of specific problems that have happened to me personally and how we went about fixing them. Make sure you watch to the end of this video because there's going to be a lot of important information. You're definitely going to pick up a lot of value from it. Let's get right into it. Now, before I give you step one in the disaster mitigation protocol as a freight broker, make sure you like this video and subscribe to this channel. You don't want to miss any of the videos that I come out with just like this that give you real, up-to-date, modern, actionable insights about what it's like to be a freight broker, how to grow your brokerage, and how to survive and thrive in the competitive logistics industry. Make sure you hit that follow button. And now let's get right into step one of delivering bad news to your customer. So like I just said in the beginning of the video, it's not a matter of if, but when will a problem come up with a shipment, and you have to make that dreaded phone call or send that terrible email to the customer letting them know that something is wrong. Maybe you're just telling them that a truck is late. Maybe you're telling them that a truck got into an accident and their load is spread out all over the highway. Each instance can be just as disastrous, right? You never know if a load that you're moving is stopping a plant from shutting down. And you never know if a truck that's late is costing another company thousands of dollars a day because somebody's waiting on that really precious cargo. When it comes to handling other people's freight and property, it's very important that there's a very clear aspect of transparency. You are not allowed to hide things when it comes to somebody else's freight. If it has to move into a different truck, you have to tell them. If it's not picking up, you have to tell them. If there's an accident, you have to tell them. Okay, so the number one thing that I'm going to tell you right now is to completely get out of your head any ideas of lying, stretching the truth, or anything of that nature that can deceive your customers, right? We are not in the business of deception. Hopefully you're not in the business of deception to our carriers or our customers. So that's point number one to keep in your mind through the rest of this video. Something goes wrong with your shipment. What do you do first? The first thing that you need to do when you're reported a problem, and it's either come from the carrier, a warehouse staff, or whoever it comes from, is to confirm there is a problem, hopefully from another source. For example, if a dispatcher calls you and says, hey, I know we booked this load for you. We're supposed to pick up at 3 o'clock. We're running 2 hours behind. We're not going to get there until 5 o'clock. You can just pick up the phone and call your customer and say, oh, the truck's not going to be here until 5 o'clock. But what that's going to do is that's going to cause a state of panic. They're going to rush to recover the load themselves, and you're probably going to lose the load because they will cover it. Instead, what I would do is I would try to get the number of the driver. I'd say to the dispatcher, hey, can I have the driver's number? I just want to get an idea of where he's at. Call the driver, and you can confirm the story from the dispatcher to the driver. And the reason that we do this is because just like we're not supposed to lie to our customers, dispatchers and carriers are not supposed to lie to us. We want to make sure that all of the stories are straight, because I can't tell you how embarrassing it is to call a customer with an issue and then that issue either not happen or it happens worse than you told them. So like if you told a customer in this instance, the truck's not coming until 5 o'clock and the truck pulled up 5 minutes later, you look pretty bad because you told the customer 5 o'clock, truck just came in, customer's gonna call you, say, glad the truck came early, but what the heck is going on? Are you on top of your stuff? Okay, so the step number one, whenever a problem is reported to you, is confirm that there is an issue. You do not want to misreport a problem to your customers. That's mistake number one you can make. So we're just going to prevent that from happening by either getting it from another source or just get written confirmation. Anything that you can show your customer that you did your diligence and you know that something is wrong. Now, step number two, after you have confirmed that there's an issue, we're not calling our customer just yet. We're not sending them any emails. We're not alerting everybody that they gotta move the shipment or find another truck or there's an accident on the highway. No. The second step when there's an issue with a customer is to find a possible solution. I'm gonna give you an example in just a minute. But the reason we wanna find a solution before we report it to the customer is because it really lightens the load on them when we drop this huge, I don't want to say it because I might get flagged by YouTube, but you know, the things that go boom on our customer. We don't want to do that. We instead want to get in the habit of presenting problems backed right away by a solution. So for example, we never call a customer and say, hey, that load that we picked up for you last week, it's completely lost. Instead, we'll call the customer and say, that load we picked up from you last week has been misplaced by the carrier. However, we have already filed a claim form for you and they're executing a doc search. I should have some feedback for you in the next 20 to 30 minutes. That is a lot different than me just calling you up and saying, hey, your load got lost, right? So step number 2, like I said, come up with a possible solution. Let me give you another example of what can go wrong during a load. Trucks are not immune to breakdowns. And a lot of times, usually, a truck will break down at the worst possible time. It would be great if a truck would break down before they picked up your load so that you can find another carrier to do it. But that's usually not the case. If a load gets picked up by a truck and then breaks down midway, and you get reported that the driver can't move, right? So there's a breakdown in the middle of the highway. You get the phone call. The load's now going to be 2 to 3 days late. They don't even know that because they haven't gotten an estimate for repair. Rather than calling the customer right away and saying, hey, the load broke down, it's getting there late. What you would do instead is make a plan with the carrier. Okay, are you getting towed? Great. Where are you getting towed to? Where's the repair shop? Do you need help finding a repair shop? Can I call the repair shop and tell them to expedite this for you? Is there anything I can do to make it easier for you to get your truck fixed so we can get you on the road and delivered? The way you handled that is a lot different than just throwing your arms up in the air, just saying, you know, screw the customer, I'm just gonna tell them that the truck broke down and there's nothing really I can do to fix it. There's plenty that you can do to at least show that you're making an effort. Okay, so in that example, say a truck broke down, I would make sure I have a plan with the dispatcher and the driver. Where are you going to get repaired? When's the diagnosis coming in? When's the part coming in? Those 3 things. I would get those 3 things. Then I would call the customer and I would say, look, today, earlier, the truck broke down. I just got word. It was already towed to the repair shop. The repairman already looked at it. The part has been ordered. It is due in tomorrow. It will be fixed by tomorrow afternoon. The truck will be on the road and delivering to you maybe 24 hours late. So please make the adjustments that you need to on your end to be able to receive that cargo. That's a much more calm, cool, and controlled way to report a problem to the customer, right? But again, we're still on step 2. So find a solution before you call the customer. Step number 3 is, of course, going to be what we just talked about, which is calling or emailing the customer the issue. And like we said, and I'm going to reiterate it again, just because it's really important, we want to get into the habit of delivering bad news with good news. You don't want to be the broker who's known for whenever they pick up the phone, there's something wrong with it. I'll give you another example of what's going on with one of my shipments right now. We're doing an ocean shipment from India to the USA. Dealing with India, when you book ocean containers and you transact business in India, you need to have representation in India. Since we're setting up with a new company to do this, I'm getting pressed for that information. They're asking, you know, where's your Indian agent? Where is this bill going? You need to register in the system, all this stuff. I could just give up the shipment and say, email my customer and say, hey, this container is going to be delayed 3 weeks. We're not set up in India. We can't do it. Or I can get all of my answers in order and email the customer and say, look, that shipment that we're supposed to move this week, unfortunately, it's going to be pushed back 1 week. The reason is we're getting set up with a new carrier. It takes a little bit of time to get registered in the system, but don't worry, your rate is still the same, and we're going to have it moved for you next week. That's a lot different. And now I'm not the broker who, whenever I send an email or call, they have to be expecting bad news, right? You probably have that friend where whenever you're sitting around, if you see your phone ring and that name is on the phone, you know that you're going to pick up the phone, there's going to be some kind of a disaster, right? Maybe it's a friend, maybe it's your partner, whoever it is. You associate their phone call with a disaster, and so your anxiety builds up and it affects your thinking. You want to be the opposite of that. You want to be the person who brings solutions to the table, and I promise you that is a way to stand out to your customers and make a huge impact on their desirability to want to work with you again. they're going to want to work with a broker who always comes with a solution in mind. Just to recap, when you have bad news to deliver to your customer, you cannot panic. You absolutely cannot panic. Only one person can panic in any scenario, and it's going to be your customer. You have to be their source of strength, and you have to be their voice of reason to assure them that you're going to do everything you can to get their cargo delivered on time. So like we said, step one, confirm there's a problem. Don't go running around emailing everybody. Don't call everyone and sound all the alarms. Confirm from at least another source or another party that there is actually an issue. Number two, try to find a solution. If something's delivering late, make a later delivery appointment. If the truck breaks down, try to find them a repair shop. Anything that you can do to present to your customer is going to help soften the blow a little bit and make them much more confident in your ability to handle these situations. And step number three is, of course, going to be to tell your customer. You cannot hide things from your customer. You can delay telling them things as you come up with solutions, but do not lie to your customer. Stay transparent. They need to know what's going on with their freight at all times because it could cost them a lot of money. And when it costs them money, I promise you, eventually it's going to cost you money, whether it's going to be in lost work or them coming after you for negligence, which big companies can and will sometimes do. Okay, so those are the 3 steps to handling a crisis as a freight broker. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if you did, it would mean so much to me if you click the like button, subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss any more of these exclusive freight broker tips from a real freight broker who does this every single day at a very high level. And now, before I go, I do want to invite you to my private group. It's linked right down below. If you click the link that says join the free group, it's going to take you to a page where you could sign up. You'll receive a special invitation. It's a group full of freight brokers and carriers and dispatchers just like you who are looking to grow their business, network in the industry, share thoughts, and I hang out in there all day answering questions, telling people how to do things, and all that great stuff. So if you want to get more access to me, definitely join that group below, and I hope to see you inside. Until the next video, I'll see you soon.